afternoon to Dr. Muhammad Azri and Encik Khairul Zaman. My name is Artin Nair, anak perempuan Paramasivam. My metric number is KA43 I am currently doing my diploma in civil engineering. My supervisor's name is Madam Suhaila binti Sahad and I am from group K43. I will be explaining about the aims and objectives, job scope, rainfall intensity, extreme drought climate and the research design.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Tijani Amy binti Zulkifli. My matrix number is AA210139. I am currently a student in Diploma of Civil Engineering at UTHM. My supervisor name is Madam Suhaila binti Sahad and I am from group KA43. For my part, I'm gonna explain about research background, problem statement, monsoon, water level and research project.
Assalamualaikum and hi to everyone. My name is Putri Alia Adriana binti Yuswan and my metric number is AA212680. So currently doing my diploma at University Tun Hussein On in Civil Engineering. My supervisor's name is Madam Suhaila binti Sahad and I am in group K43. So I will explain my part, which are significance of study, rainfall pattern, water security issues, expected outcome, and the last one is summary.
Now I will explain about the research background. Weather elements such as rainfall, temperature, and moisture is critical to measure and record. Long-term meteorological data can affect decisions in a variety of industries as well as agriculture, aviation, hydrology, and engineering. Natural resource management successful design and operation system require accurate and complete climatological data. The problem with missing rainfall data are caused by the incorrect method using when measuring rainfall, the relocation of the rain station due to urbanization, equipment malfunction, and particularly in flooding area, and error in the method utilized to determine the amount of rainfall. The presence of gap in environmental data time series is a very common but extremely serious problem, as it can produce biased results and in the worst scenario, prevent important analysis of the variable under consideration from being performed. It is critical to analyze the missing value in the rainfall series to carry out an effective rainfall analysis. In this analysis, we are going to use the normal ratio method. When the normal annual precipitation at any of the index stations differ from the interpolation station by more than 10%, the normal ratio method is used. The rainfall amount of index stations are measured by the normal annual rainfall data ratio in a relationship. Moreover, MACHAP dam was chosen as our catchment area for the analysis of finding rainfall missing data and water level of catchment area. Next is the problem statement. Missing rainfall statistics has frequently been one of the most difficult problems that researchers address in each hydrological and meteorological study. The missing data on rainfall are caused by incorrect use of method when measuring the rainfall. In many cases, rainfall data under the Guardian National or local institution are incomplete. Some data are missing, both monthly and annually. The missing data may persist due to nature, damage, or human error. Furthermore, extreme rainfall intensity will cause the river to overflow and cause high tide. Once the flow of water on the surface increases, so does the accumulation of rainwater in the river. As a result, river and dam are unable to hold large amounts of water at once. As a matter of fact, we can assume that by studying the missing rainfall data, we will be able to take preventive measures to avoid the water level of the river and dam overflowing, which will end up cause a flood.
Aim is to evaluate the use of the normal ratio method to estimate the rainfall missing data, and there will be a significant result between rainfall data and water level at the MACHAP dam catchment area. Secondly is to identify rainfall missing data at the MACHAP dam catchment area using the normal ratio method. And lastly is to determine the correlation between the rainfall data and the water level in MACHAP Dam catchment area.
Next is significance of study. This study is conducted to evaluate the missing rainfall data for an area located in MACHAP Dam using the normal ratio method. Regarding that, monthly precipitation data for every station were approximated using data from nearby stations using the methods to ensure that the real data and the approximated data could be contrasted. Estimated precipitation data help reduce uncertainties for further studies related to uniformity analysis, conglomerates, trends, multivariate statistics, and weather forecasting in information efficient regions. A modified normal ratio based on the geometry median proved to be the best method for imputing measure values at all levels of missing and outliers.
Now, I will be explaining about the scope of study. Each group members will collect data from different years for the analysis division. We will be collecting data from 2010 to 2013 to analyze the missing data and the correlation between it and the water level. We will conduct an analysis without any fieldwork, and the data we will be using is the data that we request from the Department of Irrigation and Drainage or the Meteorological Office. Lastly, we can reduce the number of rainfall cases by using this method.
Now, I will explain about a monsoon. A monsoon is a seasonal shift in the direction of a region prevailing or strongest wind. Throughout much of the tropic, monsoon cause both dry and wet season. Monsoons are always blowing from cold to warm areas. The large disparity in global temperature distribution influence the development of monsoon wind movement. In general, the wind is delicate. Despite a severe drought, Malaysia rarely has a cloudless sky, except during the northeast monsoon season. Malaysia rarely has a period of severe day with no sunlight at all. Although the wind index Malaysia is generally weak, variable in direction, wind pattern change on a regular basis. As a country surrounded by water, the effect of sea breeze and land breeze on wind pattern is significant, particularly on clear days. Four seasons can be distinguished based on this change, which are the northeast monsoon, the southwest monsoon, and two shorter transitional monsoon seasons. The northeast monsoon is Malaysia's main rainy season. The monsoon weather pattern, which developed in tandem with cool flow of air from Siberia, generate heavy downpour that regularly cause significant flood in the east coast state of the peninsula, namely Kelantan, Terengganu, Pahang, and East Johor, as well as Sarawak and Sabah in East Malaysia. During this monsoon starting in November to March, the prevailing wind is from the northeast with a wind speed of 10 to 30 knots and estimate 4 to 5 monsoon rain that can cause flooding. Next, the southwest monsoon is particularly dry throughout the country, with the exception of Sabah in East Malaysia. Most states have minimum monthly rainfall during this season. The rain protective effect of Sumatra mountain range is responsible for peninsular Malaysia dry condition. The tail consequence of typhoons that frequently cross the Philippines on their way across the South China and its surrounding cause Sabah to be wetter. This monsoon starts in the May to September. For two shorter transitional monsoons, the transition phase between two monsoons, always known as the monsoon intermediate season, take place between April and October. Throughout these two transitional seasons, both rainfall events occur in the form of thunderstorms caused by convective spring. Next is water level. Change in water level are influenced by a variety of geological, biological, and climate processes. in water level thus can be attributed to either of two variables which are shift in ocean flow rate or change in ocean watershed volume. The water level may rise or fall due to tectonic pressure. Tectonic plate alter the shape or region of ocean basin. Over a period, the transformation effect the total area occupied by ocean. For biological process, water level fluctuation significantly impact plant life distribution, composition, cover and abundance, all of which influence evaporation and transpiration. Hydrological regime change can cause adjustment in the physical, chemical and biological environment as well as influence biodiversity and ecosystem. And lastly, for the climate process, rising sea level could be one of the most significant consequences of climate change. Even a minor rise in sea level will have serious economic ramifications as it cause significant damage to the world coastal region. Water level may rise in the near future as the sea floor expands due to the greenhouse effect and as polar ice sheet and glacier melt, increase the volume of water in the ocean.
Now, I will be explaining about rainfall intensity. Rainfall intensity is the quantity of water that falls from the sky per unit time. The higher the depth, the greater water falls from the sky. The intensity of rainfall is measured in millimeters per second. The uncertainty of rainfall intensity for different return periods for shorter duration is found to be 2 to 6 times more compared to longer duration rainfall, which indicates that a large increase in rainfall intensity for shorter durations. In general, Malaysia's climate is influenced by winds from the Indian Ocean, which is known as the southwest monsoon, which is from May to September, and the South China Sea, which is known as the northeast monsoon, will happen during November to March. Its annual rainfall is 80% per year, which is between 2,000 mm and 2,500 mm.
Next is rainfall pattern. Precipitation patterns vary by precipitation amount and duration, annual seasons, and geographic location using the contingency tables. These categorized rainfall styles may be used to analyze harm situations within the Gulf Pacific that are tough to decide from the discovered rainfall styles. As a result, the proposed technique with a massive ensemble weather data set will make contributions to flood management planning. This article applies statistical cluster analysis methods to identify event-based representative temporal precipitation patterns at 14 stations in June. An 8-hour rain-free separation time is used to split 5-year precipitation data into individual precipitation events according to the monsoon.
Now, I will be explaining about extreme drought climate. Extreme climate events such as hurricanes, droughts, extreme precipitation, and wildfire have the potential to alter watershed processes and stream response. Each of these drought categories has its own problems. For example, drought on agriculture causes the soil to dry up and lose its moisture. Then, ecology will negatively affect the ecosystem if drought occurs. In conclusion, we know that an extreme drought climate plays an important role in affecting the missing rainfall data.
So the last part in chapter 2 is water security issues. The issue of water security, known as the acceptable level of water-related risk to humans and ecosystems. Approximately 18% of the world's population is threatened by water scarcity or aquatic biodiversity. Many countries face significant challenges in achieving urban water security. In Malaysia, the understanding of water interrelationships in water energy food (WEF) linkage is still in its infancy. The first part of the research study is composed of qualitative interviews with key water sector stakeholders which validate in provide reassurance. The second component of the research is a quantifiable stock and flow analysis utilizing four properly designed scenarios centered on Malaysia's water security.
Next is the research flowchart. After undergoing the background research and literature review, we are going to collect the rainfall missing data from the Department of Irrigation and Drainage or the Meteorological Office. After that, all the data will be calculated using the normal ratio method and analyze it using SPSS analysis. The result that has been obtained will be reviewed by the supervisor and we will reach the conclusion.
I will be explaining about the research design. In the study, the normal ratio method, primarily based totally on trimmed mean, are combined with geographical coordinate technique. The outcomes indicated that this technique improved the estimation of missing rainfall values at the target station, primarily based totally at the least error measurement. Therefore, the method is the most common method used to record rainfall records that are missing from station data. A formula has been reserved, which is the formula above, where Nx equals to the average annual rainfall at the missing data site, Ni equals to the average annual rainfall at a nearby site. The modified normal ratio based on geometric median was discovered to be a great technique in imputing missing rainfall values at all levels of missingness and outliers. Generally, the proposed techniques are pretty advocated to be applied as an alternative technique in imputation of missing values, mainly in the life of outliers within the dataset.
So the expected outcome in this report is the study aimed to evaluate the use of the normal ratio method to estimate rainfall missing data, and there will be a significant result between rainfall data and water level at the MACHAP Dam catchment area. So the last part in this presentation is summary for Chapter 1, Chapter 2 and Chapter 3. Chapter 1, the project background was briefly discussed about project problem statement, meteorological study, research question, aims and objective research, significance of the study, scope of the study, and the last one is expected outcome. Chapter 2 will talk about the monsoon caused by the variation in pressure and the large disparity in global temperature distribution. It will cover about rainfall intensity and water level changes are driven by a variety of geological, biological and climate processes. This chapter will discuss subtopics such as monsoons, water levels, rainfall intensity, rainfall patterns, extreme drought climates, and finally, water security issues. And the last one is Chapter 3. Chapter 3 is about the methodology of this study, which is normal ratio method. Discuss in greater detail how this method can be used to solve specific difficulties.